I have a question. What depletes
Yeah.
vitamin D? Like, I know that you have to go out in the sun to get vitamin D.
Mhm.
I take a supplement, but like I know people that are outside all the time, and they're like everybody's low in vitamin D. Is there something specific that depletes that? Like, I
Well,
know
there's a lot.
processed foods probably do, but is there anything like specific that does it?
Yeah, I mean, well, processed foods would be one specific thing. So, what depletes vitamin D? Well, what does vitamin D do, right? So, vitamin D is anti-inflammatory, antiviral, immune balancing, antimicrobial, bone health, muscle health, dopamine signaling. So, anything that's going to put more demand on any one of those mechanisms that it, fulfills is going to put more demand on vitamin D. So, if you have persistent viral infection, say you have chronic Epstein-Barr or, herpes simplex 1, that's going to put demand on your vitamin D. If you are over consuming calcium, say, because you love dairy and you're taking calcium supplements and all this and it's unnecessary, well, vitamin D helps regulate calcium metabolism. So that could throw your D off. If you're overtraining and you're damaging muscles and not recovering, allowing yourself to recover well, you could be using vitamin D to try and deal with that inflammation and damage that you're putting yourself through. So those are things that can deplete vitamin D. And then of course, if you're not getting enough sun and you're using, even if you didn't have any of that going on, but your body's using vitamin D every day for stuff, you're going to deplete your vitamin D just through normal physiology. So that's one factor. Let's address the sun while we're at it. So the sun, we've talked about, we need to get enough sun and we make vitamin D from the sun. And so I've made multiple videos on healthy sun exposure and dangerous sun exposure. And we've also talked about how, unless you're naked at the equator 24/7, even summertime in North Carolina, the angle of incidence of the sun isn't ideal. So we're not going to get enough from the sun. So supplementation is going to be important because diet doesn't give you enough. Another factor is what's called the vitamin D receptor. So when we supplement vitamin D or we consume vitamin D or we make it from the sun, that vitamin D has to go into the cell and bind the vitamin D receptor, which is in the nucleus of the cell. And there's multiple genes that influence how efficiently the vitamin D receptor works. So depending on your genetic makeup, you may be less efficient in the vitamin D binding the vitamin D receptor, and then the vitamin D receptor allowing all the things that vitamin D does to happen efficiently. So that's why, you could take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, and I could take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. And if I have good vitamin D receptors, my number goes up great and yours doesn't move. And you're like, what the heck? I'm taking the same amount as you. It might not be a crappy product. It might just be you have less efficient vitamin D receptors due to your genetic makeup. And so we'd have to dose higher or, make appropriate amendments to your strategies. So
Okay.
there's lots of factors.